it's Mrs. Fonte. Welcome to Snow Day Science. I'm not in school today, so I thought I would give you your science lesson anyways. Alright, so our lesson today is about rocks in the earth. And I'm going to share a couple things with you. At the end, pay attention, there will be a review. Alright, so we've all seen the globe before. Now, if you look here, you're going to see that there's lots of bumpy places on the globe. Alright, prop please. Alright, here's my globe. On my globe, if you were here in my house, you would see that there's lots of the same kinds of bumps. And we know that those bumps are formed by what? That's right, those tectonic plates that we learned about that are under the earth. They're always shifting and moving. Sometimes they bump into each other, they push up, they form mountains. And we know that those mountainsides often look like this, where we can see the exposed edges of rocks. Okay. So let's go back to when you were probably in first or second grade. You sorted stuff out, but you usually sorted it this way, into living and non-living things. Right, Eden?
Yeah.
Okay. So I might have asked you a question in my first grade class like, what's a plant? And you might have said a living thing. And what's soil? And you might have said a non-living thing. What's a rock? And you might have also popped up with non-living thing. But here in third grade, we're going to learn something even deeper. See, non-living things are often come from these organic materials. The organic materials are just decaying plants, animals, leaves that are changing into this material that we're going to use in order, the earth will use in order to make rocks. The earth is the ultimate recycler. Okay. So just to review, let's look at this rock and let's look at this computer. One of them is an organic material. It's not living, but it's organic. One of them is a man-made material. Pretty easy, right? What is it, Eden? Which one is man-made? The computer or the rock? People make it. Which one?
Rock. Computer.
It's the computer, yep. The computer is man-made. It means people make it. And which one's organic, do you think? It comes from like decaying plants, animals.
Rock.
The rock. We got it this time. Good. All right, so now we know we have the difference between man-made and organic. Moving on. Now, in class I always ask you what makes you smart. I can hear you just saying at home. Effort and patterns. Those are the things that make you smart. So, we're going to talk about some patterns that we see in nature. Now we see patterns all the time, like the pattern that you see on this bridge, but we also see lots of patterns in nature. And here's a pattern that you're probably super familiar with. A pattern that you're really familiar with is probably a life cycle. And we're going to compare the life cycle of a butterfly to the life cycle of a rock. We always talk about how things are alike and different. So here, I'm going to show you a picture of our rock cycle that we're going to keep coming back to. And we're going to start by asking, how are these alike and different? When you look at these, Zeke, what do you notice is a similarity between the butterfly's life cycle and the rock cycle? What do you see?
There's a circle.
There's a circle in both of them. And we know that circles don't have what? Doesn't have a beginning or a end. You're right. It doesn't have a beginning or an end. So we know that there's not a beginning or an end of the rock cycle or the butterfly life cycle. But there's also some differences too. The difference is that if you look at it, okay, one has to do with living and one has to do with organic. Also, time is a big difference. The butterfly life cycle happens all very quickly, but the life cycle of rocks take a really long time. Think of place value. Go to the hundreds place, the thousands place, beyond that. A really, really long time in order for all this to happen. So, to help you understand, I'm going to explain to you about my life as a rock star. And I'm going to need some sunglasses. Prop, please. Because my life as a rock starts off and it's super hot. See, I'm magma. I'm hanging out right here near the core of the earth that we learned about. This magma, ooh, I'm so hot and I'm liquid, and I am not a rock yet, but I'm this liquid, hot, kind of cool form, and then things are good. And then, as I become this magma, all of a sudden I'm going to get moving on up till I get to be, let's see, I'm cooling off. Not as hot as I used to be. and I'm slowing way, way, way down. And now I'm igneous rock. And I'm just going to hang out here for thousands and thousands and thousands of years until all of a sudden there's a bubbling magma that's near me. This bubbling magma is going to shove me up to the surface. And as I come up to the surface, oh my gosh, I'm pushed out in my rock stage. And of course, I'm going to land on the amazing island of Hawaii, where I will stay on the side of a volcano. This is a very wonderful part of my life. It's beautiful there. I've got hikers that travel up and down on my sides. Lots of beautiful weather, very tropical, no snow days. But here at the side of the volcano, weathering does happen. And it's really windy here in Hawaii. Ooh, there's lots of different kinds of weathers that come by, rain and even, oh gosh, chemicals in the rain until I change and I start breaking apart into bits. And here's a hiker traveling down my side, breaking me even further. I'm still igneous rock, but now I'm actually something called sediment. This can be kind of confusing because a lot of people think at this stage I would be a sedimentary rock. I'm not. I'm still an igneous rock, but I'm sediment. That means I'm a tiny particle of igneous rock on the side of this mountain, this volcano. But look what's going to happen. If I go back, you're going to see, do you see this river? Well, over time, the wind, perhaps a waterfall, is going to carry myself into this river, and I land there, and I travel all the way down the river until I land at the bottom of the ocean. And there at the bottom of the ocean, this is probably my favorite part in my life cycle as a rock. I'm sand. And I get smoother and smoother as the waves wash over me, and tinier and tinier and finer. And I enjoy the beautiful warm sunshine, very different from a Michigan snow day, until, well, layer upon layer upon layer of sand is going to wash on top of me over and over. And now it's getting darker, and I'm going deeper and deeper. And finally, I'm going to become a sedimentary rock. And you can see the changes that are happening as I've come down the river and I've been deposited and I've gotten deeper and deeper into those layers. But look, I go from this layer to this layer to this layer to this layer until suddenly it's getting hot again. Gravity's pushing me deeper and deeper and deeper. And gravity's putting a lot of pressure on me. And now the heat and the pressure and the heat and the pressure is going to result in me having a change. Now it's not the kind of change that might happen overnight or even quickly. It takes a long time, but as I change, I become metamorphic rock, and I'm changed pretty quickly into something different. Now, this is the important part of the rock cycle to understand. I told you a story which was an example of one life cycle of one particular rock, but the life cycles work differently for different rocks, just like they would for different animals. Rocks can change. They can change from igneous into metamorphic, and then from metamorphic back into igneous. The same is true. All the different rock types can switch and shift into other rock types as they go through the process of weathering, erosion, pressure, heat, time. All those play a factor in the rock cycle. So it's time to review. Rocks are made from what kind of materials? Think hard. It was non-living, started with an O, or, say it you guys.
Ordinary.
Oh, or, what type? Organic materials, yep. How the rocks are made determines this one is harder. There were 3 of these, 3 different rock.
Shape?
No, not shapes.
Sizes.
Not sizes, starts with a T. Go ahead, say it.
Types.
Types, good. Igneous rocks are formed when what? What was I with the sunglasses on? I hardened and I cool. What was that called? It was close, started with an M. Mm-hmm. Say it.
Metamorphic.
No. Magma, right. Sedimentary rocks were formed by this pressing on me for a long time. What'd I say? Gravity and what was that? It was really hot. Heat. Gravity and heat. And then I'm sorry, sedimentary rocks were formed by just gravity, but metamorphic rocks were formed by the heat and the pressure. Okay, so obviously we would still need to review. Okay, so to come from a once living organism means you are what kind of material? Starts with an O.
Organic.
Good. A type of rock that forms when melted rock cools and hardens. It starts with an I.
Igneous.
Igneous. A type of rock formed by gravity pressing on the rocks and minerals for a long type of time. This is under the ocean. It starts with an S.
Sand.
It is sand.
Sedimentary.
Sedimentary. And then one of the major types of rocks that's created from the heat and pressure is metamorphic. All right, so hopefully you learned a lot this morning. You have a great snow day. I'll see you back in school tomorrow.